Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you part 2 of a replay between ArgosZenith and Goonies here on Scrap Station. Gonna go ahead and get this replay started once again. Army-wise, you see that ArgosZenith is able to macro up a little bit more. He will be able to start getting a lot of drones out of this location here, and perhaps just start pumping out a lot of units. We do see one observer in the air, so that observer able to gain sight. One Hydralisk in this group. The Infestor could in fact try to get a fungal growth. We also see that ArgosZenith has Neural Parasite. So with getting a Neural Parasite, we do see also the Overlords now quickly coming into this position here, trying to get as much sight. He sees the two robotics facility as the fight now engaging over here. Couple of force fields, so nicely done as Goonies was able to trap off a lot of those roaches. And now in come these Stalkers. Stalkers now trying to engage once again because those Colossi does not have the extended thermal lance research. However, those force fields coming in, and now very, very nicely done, just trying to get off another Neural Parasite. One Colossus slicing through its own units, and now will this Infestor get off another Neural Parasite? No, does not look like it has enough energy, trying to fight back and forth. More Overlords getting into position, more roaches engaging. However, ArgosZenith just trying to win this game with pure macro will not be able to do so, and really needs the pullback. This is not looking good at all for ArgosZenith. ArgosZenith and not even producing any additional units, and down to a 750 mineral army. I believe, yeah, Goonies now going to move down over into this location, quickly be able to take down and take out this Zerg, this hatchery. And now ArgosZenith will only be running off of essentially one base, but both sides only running off of one base, as Goonies is now, Goonies mining with 62 harvesters into this one location here. A lot of probes just dancing back and forth, not really able to do any additional mining. We do see, two observers now in the air, able to gain a lot of sight. Zerglings and Broodlings trying to finish off this rest of this very, very strong Protoss army. The Protoss now seeing that level 1 weapons upgrade, force fields coming in, and now Zergling's getting a nice surround into this location here, getting off a fungal growth, making sure that none of these units are able to move around. Roaches trying to take down that last Colossi. Colossi now taken down, and it's just a Stalker versus a Roach battle. Those Roaches will not be able to survive against those Stalkers. Stalkers able to give chase, and now that Roach very, very scampering very, very quickly across the map, and Goonies with that Observer now in the air, able to clean up this creep highway. So those roaches will not be able to move at a movement speed of 4 any longer, and essentially have the same movement speed as those Stalkers. Will not be able to try to do any hit and run tactics, as Stalkers have now similar movement speed and farther range. We now see one observer is just continuing to look around the map, and now it looks as though ArgosZenith getting just a lot of infestors. Now, a lot of players are wondering why you would go for mass infestors at this stage in the game. Essentially, mass infestors in a very, very limited resource game is very important to try. Just because the longer the game goes, the more you will be able to get out of your infestors. Infestors, you can just essentially trade energy from an infestor for units from your opponent, especially when both players are still sitting on one base and that one base is nearly mined out. You can see that ArgosZenith is still mining out a lot of gas from these two locations here, so he will have a lot of gas for quite some time, and that means that if he wants a gas intensive army, that's what he should be going for. We do see one Overseer now moving around on the inside. That Overseer moving slightly slower than that Stalker, so the Stalkers are able to move and attack and catch up to it, but that is essentially it. We now see 8 infestors here, and now it's still training up 2 more, and infestors going into the Overlord. So this is gonna be an infestation drop of some sort that I've never seen. So I'm very, very curious as to see how this is gonna work. Army wise, you can see that ArgosZenith does not have nearly as large of a mineral army, but has a larger gas army just because of these infestors. So Overlord's now going to come into this position here, and what are they going to do? Are they going to just spawn mass infested Terran into the space? Zergling's now trying to engage over here, so Zergling's trying to bait the rest of these Stalkers out. Zergling's now trying to once again pull back here as this army sits in this location. More Stalkers now currently being warped in here, and now Zerglings and Roaches and Infestors. Will the Infestor get off a Neural Parasite? No, will not be able to. However, it's going to be a straight drop into the main tech location of Goonies, and Goonies is now going to be in trouble, as he was quickly going to see a lot of infested Terran just quickly hatching inside his base. You can see all the infested Terrans here, and now all the units trying to pull back. More infested Terrans still being spawned. Where are those Overlords? Overlords need to pick up these units very, very quickly. These are very, very expensive units. Dropping another infested Terran here, and now all these infested Terrans dealing so much damage, taking on so many key buildings, and now in come these Stalkers. Stalkers, however, getting a little bit choked up as well, and the Overlords now moving out. So this is exactly what I was talking about. Using infestor energy in order to just deal damage. And now, because he was able to do that, he has just seriously hurt Goonies' production. We do see a lot of Zerglings and Infestors sitting over here. Army and unit combination. The unit combination is 15 Infestors. So 3,000 gas in terms of his army combination. Oh, 2,500 gas? I guess Infestors do not cost 200 gas as I originally thought. Let me click on a larva and see how much it actually does cost. I'll have to do that a little bit later, as we now see Stalkers moving in with these Colossi. Stalkers and Colossi trying to fight back over here. The Overseer does see that these destructible rocks are caving in, and now we see all of these infested Terrans now coming in position. However, there is more than enough infested Terrans in order to, Infestors in order to get off some Neuroparasites, and now infested Terrans trying to engage here, and now are we going to get the Neuroparasite? Neuroparasite needs to come off. It is not going to go ahead and engage. There we go. Now getting those infested Terrans now spawning into this location here. Colossi able to just turn around. Infested Terrans now spawning as well, just dealing so much damage. Those Colossi are still blue, continuing to fight back even further. Are we going to get more Neuroparasites is the key question. Colossi continuing to fight back. Both sides dealing a lot of damage. Another Nexus currently being warped in. And now these Stalkers are trying to engage. However, not enough over here. So are we going to get more infested Terrans? Drones now doing that walk of shame, trying to do some more harvesting over here as these infested Terrans now coming in, and just massive amounts of energy from these infested Terrans and Infestors able to deal so much damage. So infested Terrans now moving out, able to take down that last Colossi there, or Colossus there, as those Stalkers being forced to pull back the army-wise down to a 475. For Goonies, and Goonies must be kicking himself right now, trying to figure out what exactly ArgosZenith did in order to get this game under his control. We do see Zerglings now moving out over here, trying to take this location down. Perhaps ArgosZenith should consider taking down these destructible rocks in order to increase the mining capability of all of these drones walking up over here instead of just trying to come into this tier 2 layer there. And once again, more infested Terrans will be spawned in this space. These infestors generate so much energy so quickly, and once again gonna have another drop into this location. And now with what was that, 12 infestors just spawning out infested Terrans into this location here, we'll be able to get off a lot of damage. All the infestors will just be able to just hop back up straight into these overlords. We do see a couple of these infestors kind of getting stuck here, but the main gateways have been taken down. Once again, Stalkers trying to move out, Stalkers trying to stop all of these drones still doing that walk of shame, and now trying to just harvest more and more minerals. You can take a look at the harvester count, down to 39 harvesters. Not looking too good for either of these players. However, mass infested Terrans simply just destroying the main base of Goonies. We now see a lot of probes coming out over here. However, Goonies does not have the necessary gateways in order to produce and train up any more units. We now see what ArgosZenith still sitting on a lot of gas. 1,700 gases production should probably just continue to be more and more of those infestors at this stage in the game, as there's nothing that really our Goonies can do at this point. We do see more Stalkers trying to come in. Drones are getting shot down here. We do see a large number of infested Terrans now moving, or infestors now moving out once again. 15 infestors. Are we going to get a fungal growth? Force fields now coming in across as well. Zerglings trying to come in, and now all these infestors coming off over here. Will they be able to just continue to move? Mass queens and infestors moving out once again. Excuse me. So we have a lot of queens here. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't tried to generate any additional creep as well, as queens really need creep in order to move very quickly. Roach is also moving out as well. These infestors now currently sitting on 15, also training up more Zerglings and getting more cannons as well. I did see some Void Rays currently being trained, and net incomes of one more infested Terrans. And we also had a neuro or fungal growth there. Massive numbers of eggs now being hatched as well, as these queens will be able to get off a lot of transfusion. And you got to remember, these infested Terrans are dealing 10 damage per attack. So these infested Terrans firing and dealing more damage than Marines at this point in the game. And Goonies, I believe, says, yeah, that's GG right there. Doing a great job, just able to deal so much damage. Mass infested Terrans, one of the reasons why spellcaster units are so strong in the late game. Late game, when you're really tight on resources, really tight on minerals, if you're able to keep your spellcasters alive, your High Templars, your infestors, ghosts to some extent, but you really have to be very careful with sniper round. And then also hunters, or those ravens who are able to drop auto defense drones. That just becomes very powerful for the Terran, Zerg, and Protoss, just trading energy for minerals. And you got to remember that ArgosZenith probably mined less resources than his opponent. His opponent Goonies was able to start mining out of this location here, and yeah, these mineral patches down to about 1100. So he's able to get about 400 mineral back over here. Yeah, these mineral patches were barely touched. However, Goonies just did not have enough of an economy and enough production buildings just because of the mass infested Terrans inside this base. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between ArgosZenith and Goonies here on ScrapStation.